Welcome to the fourth video on TCP/IP protocol suite of emails. Today we'll be looking at the transmission protocol, which is the third level. We looked at application protocol, which was the user interface, and we took the example of Outlook. We then moved on to the communication, control and addressing protocol, which we looked at how it works out the quickest path to send the packets along the internet, the address it has to go from using the to section in the email, and how that gets converted into the IP address of the receiving server. And now we're looking at transmission protocol, which is a physical requirements and process to send the message along the local network and into the internet to be sent over to the receiving server. So let's take a look at some protocols involved in transmission. We have Ethernet protocol. This is used to send the packets made of binary, ones and zeros, of data to their destination according to the IP address. So we discussed earlier how the packets which contain binary are like rice. A little individual rice grain doesn't make up anything big, but when you have several little rice grains and you add them together, you have one meal, and that meal is like our message. We have little bits of information which are all tiny bits that run along separately, but at the other end they get compiled back into one main message. Ethernet protocol also contains the sender's address and receiver's address and length of message. This is added into the packet of data. Now, it's very important that we have the sender's and receiver's address, as we need to know who the message is going from and who's it going to. You wouldn't want to send a message through the post and not know who the sender or the receiver was. And then also, the length of message is very important. That allows us to make sure the entire message is there before displaying it on screen. Otherwise, we could have a corrupt message or missing parts. Also performs data verification in the form of checksum. This adds up all the packets' numbers and then adds that on to make sure at the other end that we have all the same data. There is a small percentage though that checksum fails to pick up. Ethernet protocol, before allowing the packets to enter the network, checks to see if the network is busy. This is just like driving along in a car. Before you enter a roundabout, you make sure it's clear. This same principle applies to the network. As we can see from the diagrams below, it is very similar to the communication, control and addressing protocol, as that works out the quickest route that it would take to get from the server onto the local network, onto the internet, and then to the receiving server. Ethernet protocol follows that predetermined path from the previous layer and sends the physical packets along the network. Excellent. This has now completed the tutorials on how the TCP/IP protocol suite interacts with emails along a network and internet.